Awesome. So we'll just wait for a couple more minutes here before we start. That way we can start right on time.
Are we going, what, a half hour today?
Yeah, I think about a half an hour would be great.
Okay.
At the end, you know, there might be some questions, but hopefully we can answer quite a few questions in that half an hour. Be like interview style here. I have quite the question list here. So excited. Where's your next trip coming up, Bob?
Well, the next big one is I'm going to Southeast Asia because we have a huge group there with main regional ambassadors and then 16 sub-ambassadors who represent us in all of the Southeast Asia. So I'll be doing events in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, in Singapore, and in Hong Kong. So it's going to be a pretty great trip. It's a little over 2 weeks long. So we're going to be able to talk to a lot of people. So pretty excited about that. And then I get back and go to Toronto after that, only about a week after that. And then in June off to Atlanta. So we've got some stuff planned.
Wow. And is this a team of people that you're going with?
No, I basically go on my own. And these are sometimes they're events that involve other people and over a couple days, like that's usually what Atlanta is. The others are mostly just me doing events, and we've had some pretty large ones. So we're always excited to travel and get a lot of people together. And the more people we can share it with at one time, the more people can then share it with other people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm excited. I would love to have you come back down to the Tri-Cities at some point this year too.
Always like going to the Tri-Cities. Not particularly in the winter so much, but yeah, in the spring, summer, and fall, you know, that's great.
Yep, you don't really want to travel over the pass this time of year.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I just want to introduce Bob Wright, the founder of the American Anti-Cancer Institute. This gentleman has been in my life for probably a good 3 to 5 years. Once I started in Magic, I immediately bonded with him and I said, we have got to get this information out. I've been promoting his books because there's so much information about cancer out there and how we can prevent it. And if you do have it, what the steps are to do. And so Bob Wright is the leader in this, he's the pioneer. And we have the honor of having this gentleman here today. So we're going to ask him some questions. So thank you, Bob, for coming on.
My pleasure.
Awesome. So I've got some questions here. We're going to go ahead and just start down the list. So first off, how did you get involved with cancer research?
Well, I write about it in the book. In the beginning of the book, I talk about my mom and dad and basically what happened to them. You know, my mom died of cancer probably only about a week after she was diagnosed. She went really fast. And my dad took 16 years to die with kidney cancer. He had one kidney removed and then it moved on to his other and ravaged his body for that length of time until he was on dialysis, and then that didn't work anymore. So he died too. So I saw both ends of that spectrum. And that is what really drove me to find out what cancer was all about and what I call the cancer racket, believe it or not. So that's really what spurred me on to do this.
And you've been doing it for about how long now?
Well, I founded the American Anti-Cancer Institute, which is now morphing into the International Wellness and Research Center, about 10 years ago now. But I've been working on different types of things related to this field for over a quarter of a century, easily, but probably further back than that. And in the human body.
Wow, we just lost a little bit of that last sentence, but I think we got you back on now. Well, great. Thank you for sharing how you got started. You know, let's talk a little bit about nutrition first. So tell me, you know, about nutrition and how it plays in the body and how important it is to have the right diet. Can you kind of describe a little bit more about diet?
Well, we talk about things that are good for cancer patients and good for non-cancer patients. Prevention is the real cure. I don't think any of us can really deny that. But nutrition is fundamental. I mean, if you're not going to be on a nutritious, good diet, your chances of healing from cancer or anything or staying well go down substantially. So nutrition is fundamental. It's the number one thing we talk about. As far as lifestyle, now we're going to talk about some other things that are our premier things we recommend for cancer patients. But as far as lifestyle and everyday things, nutrition, eating a largely organic diet, a lot of fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables, juicing, taking out the things that are harming us, like sugar. We call sugar the white death, and we do that for a reason. And we could talk about sugar for the whole half hour, but you can read about it more in the book. But we need to eat the right foods, but we need to stop eating the wrong foods. And there's a whole list of those in the book too, and they range from different types of meats to milks, the wrong thing, milk and milk products, and that startles a lot of people. But we need to do what is fundamentally correct with nutrition, or our chances of health and healing are diminished.
Let's just talk about dairy for a minute. I know you say sugar and dairy are two of the most, you don't want to eat those and consume those, but yet you see it everywhere. It's advertising, it's marketing. You see, bones, you got to have your calcium. So can you tell us a little bit about why you don't recommend dairy?
Well, first of all, the calcium that is in milk is not really that usable for human beings. And actually, most of the calcium you can find anywhere is not, because it's a form of crushed rock. And we recommend calcium lactate. And there's nothing that you can get through milk that you can't get somewhere else. So milk is not absolutely necessary for any of us. It's made for calves. We are the only species on Earth that drinks the milk of other species. And so that should caution us to begin with. But milk has protein in it. 35% of it is, or 30% of it or so is whey, which is okay. The rest, 70%, is casein. And if you've read the China study by T. Colin Campbell, which was one of the largest studies of its kind on nutrition ever done, milk is indicated as directly related to cancer. And so I write a page about it or so in my book, and about what the real truth is concerning milk. And I adjure everyone to look at that and study milk a little deeper. And besides, if you go to the supermarket and buy a gallon of milk, it's pasteurized, so everything in it is dead. And that includes all the pus you find in there and all the other things that are in there, which seems to be okay because it's all dead. I just prefer not to drink it. Now, I think if people knew what was in it and why it didn't help you and had the tendency to harm you, that other people wouldn't drink it either. Now, of course, the milk lobby doesn't want me to say that.
What about the antibiotics and hormones? Are we getting some of those while consuming milk?
Yeah, that's a given. But you not only get those through milk, you get them through eating meat too, if you're not selecting your meat properly. So, and most animals now are treated with those things. We see more and more farms, these commercial farms that are going away and from those things, and we hope it continues, but it's currently still in use.
Wow. So do you think that cancer is more genetic, lifestyle induced? I mean, give me a little bit of background there. Who's more susceptible to cancer?
Well, it's one of the hardest things for the medical establishment to admit and understand, because if I were speaking in front of a group of 200 oncologists and the first words out of my mouth were cancer is not genetic, they'd probably all stand up and walk out, because they don't understand where cancer comes from. They understand genetics to a degree, but they don't understand epigenetics. And if genetics is the computer of your body, the epigenetics is the software. And you know that good hardware does not run without good software. So the epigenetics are all of the processes that take place, the physiology within our body that keep us going. So cancer is really epigenetic. It's not genetic, because it's the breakdown of the human body as a result of chemicals and radiation and different forms of those types of things, which we get through our cell phones, through our food. We're bombarded with Wi-Fi. We put lotions and potions on our bodies that are filled with chemicals. That's where cancer begins, and begins to destroy our epigenetics.
Mm-hmm. And when, we talked a while back about this, but when someone is diagnosed with cancer, cancer is an industry. So one person to the Cancer Society, what kind of money or dollars is that typically worth, one person?
Well, there is a lot of speculation on that. And before he died, my good friend Bill Henderson, who was one of the best cancer coaches around, said that it was about $1.2 million per cancer patient for the life of that patient. And that's, has to do with all the drugs. Some of the drugs can cost as much, especially the experimental drugs, chemos and things like that, as much as $100,000 a month. So it doesn't take long to get to that 1.2 million. Now, I can't verify that that's exactly accurate, but let's just suffice it to say that it's a lot of money per patient. So there's a lot invested in keeping that industry rolling.
And after they're diagnosed, there's a period of time when they say they're so-called cured from cancer. What are the stipulations on that? Is there a time frame that they're looking at on that to keep those numbers?
Well, they're looking at 5 years from diagnosis, and they say if you survive 5 years, then you are effectively cured. And if you die one day later, so you're both cured and dead. So it's really kind of a randomized number that means not too much. I mean, it means something to the cancer patient because they've survived for 5 years. Sadly, when you endure the onslaught of chemotherapy and radiation, the basic quality of life is tremendously downgraded. And the statistics show us that 97% of the people in the United States that undergo chemotherapy are dead in 5 years. And that comes from the oncologists themselves, and was reported in the December 2004 issue of the Journal of Oncology. And it hasn't changed since then, or it's gotten worse. So most people who undergo chemotherapy die. Some survive. I mean, we've all heard of people who've done chemo and radiation and have survived. So it does happen occasionally. But it's important to know that chemo and radiation both cause and spread cancer, and that has now been proven.
Right. So what are let's just talk about the water a little bit, the Kangen water, and how important that is to a cancer patient in your experience.
Well, it's very important, and that's why I wrote a whole chapter about it in the book, and it's a long chapter, and it's because I wanted people to understand, because I talk to cancer patients almost every day, and the general consensus from the patients themselves is that, okay, I'll drink water. I know it's important for me, but Bob, where's the pill? And so they just don't understand the importance of this type of water and what exactly it is. And that harms them when they don't understand that, because then they won't drink the water, or they'll only drink a little bit of it. And we need to understand that this water, when you do the research on it, when you get deep into the scientific study of ionized water, and in particular the Kangen water, you understand what it does and why it does what it does. Now, we don't say that Kangen water or anything cures cancer. No one can legitimately say that. But I know a number of patients who would try and argue with me on that count because it's the only thing they changed. But no, we don't say it cures cancer or anything else. But when you look at the hydration part of it, which is so superior to any other type of water, and then you go deeper to the alkalinity, our bodies are acidic. We're born alkaline, and we spend the rest of our lives eating the wrong foods and drinking the wrong beverages until we acidify our bodies. And an acidic body is the home to almost every pathogen and inflammation known to man. So we need to get away from that and realkalinize our body. And we have discovered that the best way in the world to do that now is through ionized water. And in particular, Kangen water, which we endorse above anything else out there because we've never seen anything else that compares to it. The third thing is the ORP, the oxidation reduction potential, which I believe is the most important thing, because that has to do with the charge on the cells, the hydroxyl ions, the negative voltage, which serves as an antioxidant. Most people don't have a diminished negative charge in their cells. Your cells need to run at minus 25 to minus 50 millivolts. And if they don't, which in cancer patients and many chronically ill people, they're running far below that. So it becomes very difficult, if not impossible, to heal. That's why we have chronic disease, because people can't heal. So we need to raise that negative voltage. It used to be that eating the right organic diet full of vegetables and some fruits was the best way to raise that negative voltage in the cell to allow it to heal. It's not the best way anymore. It's the second best way. The best way is to use Kangen water, because Kangen water running at minus 3, minus 400, all the way, I've even heard minus 900, will realkalinize and reinitiate that negative voltage within the cells, which is required with nutrition to heal the human body.
Powerful. And so I know you talk a lot about the 9.5 water, but what about the 11.5 water in cancer? I know you've told me a few stories of people you've come across. I would love for you to, tell the stories again, or at least one of the stories about someone drinking 11.5 and what that can do for them.
Well, everyone seems to be afraid of the 11.5 because it's 100 times more alkaline than the 9.5. And not even the parent company will endorse the 11.5 for drinking water. And I'm one who does endorse it for drinking water because we've seen lots of people drink it and very large quantities, and they've done just fine. Keep in mind that I work with cancer patients, and when we talk about the pH scale, 11.5 is relatively high and alkaline, but 14 is the top of the pH scale, the most alkaline. And we see cancer patients take cesium chloride for a period of time, and it's at 14, the very top of the scale. So 11.5 isn't too much. Anytime you drink something that is very, very, or eat something very, very high alkaline for long, long periods of time, it might have a tendency to leach some of the minerals out of your body, like potassium, but that's something at 14 in cesium chloride that people have to be a little aware of. But I've never heard of this water harming anyone, and conversely, we've heard many, many reports of late-stage cancer patients who have gone to the 11.5 because they said, what have I got to lose? And because they've been basically thrown away by the cancer industry as dying and nothing more can help them. And some of these people, given 90 days to live, 120 days to live, are alive and well today. They credit it to that water. And of course, I can't say that cured their cancer, and legally, no one really can. But, when you put the right things in the human body, and they go to restoring those epigenetics, and hence the human immune system, which is the only thing that heals cancer or anything else, and we can say that, then it makes a big difference. And we have seen just so many people utilizing that who have done extremely well. I'll kind of leave it at that, because I don't want people to think that drink the 11.5 and you're healed. No one can say that. No one can say that at all. But I can tell you, and this is my personal opinion based on years and years of watching this and looking at it and drinking this water myself, that if I had cancer, I would drink it without question. And especially if I had late stage cancer, and I would drink a lot of it.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So let me just ask you the 5 things, if you were diagnosed with cancer today, what would be the 5 things that you would recommend the most? Supplements, nutrition, water, what would be the 5? Well,
let me first run through the subjects and then I'll get a little deeper into it. But the first thing, we have a 5-step approach here. Diet. Diet is, like I said earlier, you have to change your diet. You can't keep eating, at fast food restaurants and drinking soda pop and ice cream and expect to heal. So diet is fundamental. And then you need to drink the right water, the right beverages, which is the water. And then you need to take the right supplement or supplements. Then you need to detox your body. And then you need to exercise. That's the 5-step program. And exercising is only if you can. I mean, if you're stage 4 and lying on your back in rough shape, you're not going to go out and exercise. But most people are still able to exercise after diagnosis. And it's important. For that, I like whole body vibration. Because it's just superior, because it moves basically every single muscle and joint and tendon and ligament and cell within your body, allowing your cells to respirate and get rid of the junk that is within them, the waste, and then put new oxygen and new nutrition and new negative charge into the cell, which we just talked about. So that's important. And if you read chapter 9 of the book, I talked about detox. Many people will begin to heal by using a program like this, and they'll get better and better and better, and then they stop getting better, and they can't figure out why. And the reason is that their body is toxic. They built up such a load of toxins in their body that it won't let them go forward and heal any longer. That's why we think detoxification is so fundamentally important. And in chapter 9, I write about PIO, precision intestinal oxidative hydrotoning, the best form of down to the cellular level detox that we have ever seen. And for those of us in Washington, the only place it's done now is in the Seattle, Washington area. But people come from all over North America to spend a week or two there. And it's the best form of detox I've ever seen. Then, of course, we need the right water, the right fluids. Gatorade's not working, folks. Soda pop's not working. All the waters you see that are bottled out there, they're not working for you. Milk's not working for you. What's working for you is ionized water, and specifically Kangen water. The right supplements, there are many. We prefer the supplements from a specific company. They don't like me saying the name publicly now, believe it or not, because of compliance types of situations. It's okay. I get it. Read chapter 7 in the book, or call or email us, and we're happy to tell you. And I think, Amanda, you already know what that is. Mm-hmm. And then we suggest other, sub supplements, you might say. I mean, we need vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, absolutely imperative, and the other vitamins as well. Turmeric, one of the most anti-cancer and healthy foods on the face of the earth, and mixed with a little bit of piperine, or 5% of the black pepper is piperine, just like 5% of the turmeric is curcumin. Those are the things that get together. That piperine makes the curcumin 1,000 times more bioavailable in the body. And the Ukon product is really a good one too, because they use 4 oils with it. And of course, they use Kangen water to make it, and becomes more bioavailable by at least 10 times. And so it's a good thing as well.
So it's not the same as just buying something on the shelf that sits there.
No, actually, from everything that I have seen and the research I have done, it's a well thought out process to build the product called Ukon. And by utilizing I think it's the summer and the fall turmerics, and adding the process includes the Kangen water, and then the individual oils are added into that formula. And I think it's a real good formula.
Awesome, Bob. What would you recommend? I know you talked about toxicity and how to detox the body. What was the vibrational plate that you recommended?
Well, we've recently changed, and we only changed because the company that we were forwarding is no longer in business. And so if you go to our Facebook site, I believe it should be on there. I'm not sure it's on our website yet, but if you will send us an email, info@americanaci.org, then we will forward you that company. And there's a number of different types of machines that are involved with that, but we look at them and look at the durability. We look at the amplitude, which is how the plate moves up and down on the sides. We look at the hertz, or the vibrational speeds, basically, which run from 5 to 60 hertz. So we're looking at everything on these machines to come up with something that is durable, that is low cost, and will work for a long time. And because we don't want someone buying one every year.
Mhm. And as far as toxicity goes, I know the home can be one of the most toxic places that you're living in. And that's why I enjoy the Kangen water machine so much, because of those specialty waters. Do you think that's true as well as just replacing chemicals in the house with the water?
Well, to the extent that you can, absolutely. We need to replace every chemical that we can possibly replace. I know it's difficult for many people to do that complete changeover in a short period of time. So my good friend Tracy Randall says, change one thing every month, just one thing. And at the end of the year, you've changed 12 things and you're making great progress. So whether you choose that or go faster or slower, we still need to get these chemicals that lie in our dishwashing detergents, our washing machine detergents, in almost everything we see that is commercially produced and commercially bought at our stores today. It is loaded with chemicals, and we need to get these out of our homes. Hence, we get them out of our bodies. So, if we can replace any of these with a Kangen water or a type of water that comes out of that machine, I would say absolutely do that, and then search for other ways to do it as well.
In your book, you talk about tap water, fluoride, and chlorine, and that, the people that do drink tap water with all that chlorine, they're putting themselves at a high risk. Can you tell us a little bit more about chlorine and what it does in the body?
Well, chlorine is very toxic, and as is fluoride. We need to look at both of these because, most municipal water systems today include both of these, and there are better ways to disinfect your water. I mean, there's 3 or 4 other ways, baseline ways, without using chlorine. But chlorine is a poison. Make no mistake about it. How do you kill pathogens without a poison? Well, we know of other ways that are poisonous to pathogens, but not to human beings. Chlorine is poison. You take a shower, you take a 10-minute shower, and you've basically absorbed right through your skin and into your lungs with the steam, the chlorine that is probably equivalent to about 8 glasses of chlorinated water. Bad for you, very bad for you. Now, the fluoride can be even worse. Even though you don't absorb the fluoride in the shower, it doesn't go through the skin and into the lungs as easily. But still, when you drink it in water or you have it in your toothpaste or whatever, fluoride is rat poison, folks. And we see these children and people who grew up getting these fluoride treatments, and their teeth are all patched white, and it's because fluoride is not good for the human body, and especially we're told that it's good for the teeth. No, it's not, and it will poison you. If they're taking a whole tanker full of fluoride down the freeway to a municipal water system, and they have a crash and a spill, that is a hazmat situation. And they have to get the guys in the suits and cordon it all off and clean it up. However, they don't seem to have any problem putting it in your water. I don't want that in my water, and I don't want the chlorine either.
Yeah, and if it's for our teeth, why would they put it in our water that goes in our whole body? Just doesn't make sense. It's interesting.
Yeah, there's no need. And I write about that in the book, and there's a real good book called The Fluoride Deception that was written by Christopher Bryson. You want to know the history of fluoride. It was all a big scam, and that's how it came into being to begin with. There's no reason it should be in our water or in our toothpaste.
Mm-hmm. Vitamin C. A lot of people want to take vitamin C because it helps boost the immune system. Is there a certain vitamin C you'd recommend?
Well, you can only take so much orally. We need to understand that of regular, what we call ascorbic acid, vitamin C, because you have a bowel tolerance for that. And if you take too much, you get diarrhea. And so, and is that a therapeutic amount? The best way, of course, is to get an IV of sodium ascorbate, and it goes right into your blood, and it does you the most good. But many people aren't able to do that. And so there are other ways to get vitamin C. There's new products coming out that are more bioavailable to the body. I like liposomal vitamin C because the liposome is the delivery mechanism which gets the vitamin C right into the cells. We have one of those on our website right now under a few products that we recommend. I think it's from Live On Laboratories. But it doesn't have to be that one. You know, if you can find a liposomal type of vitamin C, it's probably one of the best ways to bypass much bowel tolerance and still get a ton of vitamin C into the body.
Wow, powerful. Okay, so I just want to go back to your website so people can see where they can get all this information. This is if you look at the website here, AmericanACI.org. So in here, you can actually order this book that Bob's talking about. We have them available as well. You can reach out to me, but this is such great information. He talks about GMO food, aspartame, we didn't even get into that, artificial sweeteners. I know the product that I love that you recommended to me was a product called Just Like Sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that product. It is just amazing. So if anyone's interested in that, let me know too. But he's got all kinds of great things here. Subscribe to his Facebook. The Ukon's not found on this site anywhere, so if you do want some of that, reach out to me and I can get you information on that. But I wanted to just thank you so much, Bob, for doing this for us. You inspire so many people out there and give hope to people. And I'm just privileged to be able to share this information with others and have you on this Zoom today.
Well, you're very welcome. And again, I'm just delighted to do it and share the information that God has infused into my brain to help people. And we'll continue to do that. And we're always open to helping people, whether it's talking to them on the telephone and consulting them or emailing back and forth. That's a quicker way to begin with because we have to set appointments for the others. And by and large, we don't charge anyone anything. So it's our pleasure.
Awesome. So does someone get a hold of you? Just go to your website and just get your email and just email you directly. Would that be the best way?
Yeah, that info at AmericanACI.org comes straight to me.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Bob, and you have a great rest of your weekend, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.